This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
Every once in a while, a story breaks that is kind of an obvious one. It's one that we either strongly suggested or, colloquially we say, oh, we knew that already. And I always hesitate to not cover something that people think they already know. I also try to admonish you, the audience, and myself and those around me, that just because we think we knew something doesn't mean it shouldn't continue to be talked about. It's kind of like I use the phrase, this shouldn't be surprising to anyone or shocking to anyone, but it still should be outrageous to us. And we're learning right now, the Rolling Stone just posted this article, Trump tells team he needs to be president again to save himself from criminal probes. The former president is planning on running for the White House and away from the law, or maybe more correctly stated, and away from the inside of a prison cell. Now, this should come as no surprise to anybody who's paid attention to Donald Trump and his antics and his criminality, his self-dealing, his immorality for any amount of time. But it's still noteworthy that he is telling those around him that one, if not his sole motivation for running for president, is to avoid criminal prosecution and legal consequence for his actions. That's a big deal. That he's not doing out of some high-minded sense of duty to the country. We obviously know that. We witnessed his inaction on January 6th. We witnessed the lead up to January 6th where he fomented violence against our country. This is still noteworthy, though. I'm going to read a little bit from this article. When Donald Trump formally declares his 2024 candidacy, he won't just be running for another term in the White House. He'll be running away from legal troubles, possible criminal charges, and even the specter of prison time. Never before in the history of these United States has that sentence ever applied to a commander-in-chief. Even Nixon and his nonsense. He had whatever it took, the dignity or the shame to walk away, to get on the plane. Donald Trump does not. Well, one, Donald Trump's crimes are far more serious and far greater in number than Richard Nixon's. Richard Nixon's part, it's commonly understood that really it was the cover-up that was the worst part of what he did. Donald Trump's crimes are far deeper, and the breadth of which are far more than Richard Nixon's. In recent months, Trump has made clear to associates that legal protections of occupying the Oval Office are front of mind for him. 4 people with knowledge of the situation tell Rolling Stone. Trump has, quote, spoken about how when you are the president of the United States, it is tough for politically motivated prosecutors to get to you, end quote, says one of the sources, who has discussed the issue with Trump this summer. Quote, he says when, not if, he is president again, a new Republican administration will put a stop to the Justice Department investigation that he views as the Biden administration working to hit him with criminal charges or even put him and his people in prison. Even Donald Trump knows that there is a decent likelihood that he will go to prison. Prison is on the table for a former president of the United States. Presidential immunity and picking his own attorney general aren't Trump's only reasons for running again. And as he works on another run, Trump is in a tug of war with leaders and operatives of his own party about when to announce, according to multiple people with knowledge of the matter. Now listen. If you've watched the January 6th hearings, you know that Donald Trump was in an unhinged state. Unlike other unhinged states of Donald Trump. He was ready to put Jeffrey Clark as the Attorney General of the Justice Department of the United States. An environmental lawyer, a crackpot who thought thermostats were changing votes. Just a nutter butter. And if Donald Trump is unencumbered by the chance of being re-elected, because the constitutional amendment, the 22nd Amendment, only gives a president 2 terms, how will he act? He will not care if the Justice Department quits en masse. He will put whoever, however nutty, however dangerous, an attorney general in that spot that will be his personal lawyer, that will look out for his personal interest and not the interest of the country. That is dangerous. The former president is motivated to announce early, even before Election Day 2022, in the hopes of clearing the field of primary rivals. But GOP leaders, including some of Trump's closest advisors, don't want him to declare his intentions until after the midterm elections. The GOP wants to keep voters focused on President Joe Biden rather than transforming the contest into a referendum on Trump. In recent months, Trump has reluctantly agreed to hold off, only to return shortly thereafter with threats to make an early announcement, either out of self-interest, spite, or some combination of the two. My guess, knowing Donald Trump and his actions as well as I do, having been a student of the nefarious intent of this ne'er-do-well. That's a sentence I've never said before. I believe he is going to announce early. Party be damned. Country be damned. Benefit to his actual side politically doesn't matter. What's best for Trump is what is going to prevail, and that is what he's going to do. But as Trump talks about running, the 4 sources say he's leaving confidants with the impression that as his criminal exposure has increased, so has his focus on the legal protections of the executive branch. It's not just, I love this paragraph, by the way, it's not just liberal wish casters or Trump critics who are acknowledging the former president's legal jeopardy. Trump's legal team of lawyers and former senior administration officials speak about it commonly. Quote, I do think criminal prosecutions are possible for Trump and former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Certainly, Ty Cobb, a former top lawyer in Trump's White House, bluntly told Rolling Stone late last month. And then finally here, Trump himself seems to acknowledge potential problems. He said something like, prosecutors couldn't get away with this while I was president. Another one of the 4 sources recalls, it was during a larger discussion about the investigations, other possible 2024 primary candidates, and what people were saying about the January 6th hearings. He went on for a couple of minutes about how some very corrupt people want to put me in jail. Now, we know the powers of the presidency. We know the protections that are provided therein. And those protections are in place, ostensibly, because they want people, the president, very fitting that sirens are going off. Just a moment. It's the perils of having a home studio and living in the city of Washington, D.C. The protections for the president have been put in place so that the president, whoever he or she may be, can attend to the work of the people of the United States without distraction from criminal prosecution, from frivolous lawsuits, things like this. Now, after what we witnessed with Bill Clinton and some of the rulings that came down relative to not being totally immune, those things have changed. But largely, Donald Trump is able to skirt especially this, and especially if he's willing to employ, again, I'll use the word, nefarious intent by putting his own lackeys and cronies into positions of great power, like a Jeffrey Clark in the DOJ. So we have a decision to make coming up here, not only in 2022, but in 2024. And not only do we have a decision to make, but so does Merrick Garland. the current head of the Department of Justice. Merrick Garland, acting slowly, needs to get off of it. He's been in office for over a year and a half now. The insurrection is a year and a half in our rearview mirror. We have learned astounding things from the investigation by the House Select Committee, and it needs to be investigated as a criminal matter, not just from a legislative standpoint. The Congress has no prosecutorial power or role at all. In fact, their referral of a criminal referral to the DOJ is toothless. It's meaningless because it doesn't have to be followed. It can be just like, all right, we'll put that in a drawer. Merrick Garland needs to get on it. Even if that means Joe Biden needs to pressure him to seek justice more swiftly. I'm not saying persecute Donald Trump. I'm saying prosecute Donald Trump. Let a jury of his peers judge him. If the evidence is there, prosecute. If it is not, there will be no prosecution. We know the long history in this country of rich and powerful people and how they are treated well by our Justice Department, ignored by law enforcement officials for their crimes. He's not going to be persecuted, Donald Trump. He is rich, he is powerful, he is a former president of the United States. Do your job, Merrick Garland. Out there, I'd love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear from you on social media. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I am @Dollemore. And if I do something for you that you appreciate, if I bring value to your day or your week, please consider supporting and producing what I do here. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both of those are fantastic ways to help support and produce what I do. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.